on DAB+, online, via the TalkSport app and on your smart speaker. This is the TalkSport 2 Social.
Liverpool Football Club for the 20th time joining Manchester United at the top of the tree are English champions.
It's back to Salah, he puts it into an empty net and Liverpool lead.
You know, it's the Premier League, and if you rest on your laurels, that bites you in the following season.
If you wear this shirt, if you go out at Anfield, there's only one thing that is expected of you, and that's winning the game.
I would say that Liverpool at the moment is the most enticing and exciting sporting project in world football.
If you're talking about Hugo Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, Kirkez, I mean, we are looking at a super team.
Ouattara has fed Kluivert inside the penalty area, and Kluivert has nabbed it under the goalkeeper and in.
To finish 9th, 56 points, I think is the least this group of players deserve after the season they've played. Overall, big season for us.
With Andoni as a manager, you know, it's only going to go from strength to strength.
My only worry about them going forward now, people just come and gut-wrench your team.
Bournemouth have beaten Manchester City!
Where on earth do Bournemouth go from here?
Top to bottom, one of the most unpredictable leagues around. TalkSport is the place to be for the return of the Premier League.
That's right, TalkSport is the place to be for the return of the Premier League, and it all kicks off tonight. Liverpool taking on Bournemouth. We're going to be joined by a Bournemouth guest in just a minute. But let's hear very quickly from the Bournemouth boss, Andoni Iraola. He was asked if this has been his toughest summer as a manager with so many departures at the club.
I come from Rayo 3 years. The squad basically was the same through some 1 or 2 signings, but normally was the same, even second division. Maybe when we promoted a little bit of new signings, but not but it's situations that are normal. You know, if it's not this summer looks like worse because they are players that have been like very important and they go to very big places for a lot of money. But this situation normally happen in the pre-seasons, and you have to adapt and try to cope as good as we can.
Sounds like Andoni Iraola's taken that quite well, considering he's had his team pulled apart. Look, everybody's looking at tonight's opener from a Liverpool perspective. We're going to look at it from a Bournemouth point of view. Delighted to say that Ollie Hudson from the Up the Cherries in All Departments podcast is with us. Good afternoon, Ollie.
Yeah, Ollie.
Oh, yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, how you both doing? All right?
We're all good, mate. We're all good. We're excited. We're buzzing. And we're hoping, as an Arsenal and Chelsea fan, that your boys can do a bit of a job tonight up at Anfield.
If there's ever a time in the Premier League for us to do a job, it'd be on the first game back, new season against champions, against Anfield. You know, as you say, as a lot of people think, with our spine taken away and people getting in as seagulls. But no, I'm confident, chaps. I'm confident.
Good. We're glad to hear that. Ollie, talk to us about the summer. How's it been? Because you've lost a lot of players, particularly at the back. Howson's gone, Zabani, Kirkez. Obviously, Kepa was a part of the squad last season as well. How concerned are you, by the way, the kind of summer's gone so far for Bournemouth?
Yeah, so yes and no. There's 2 ways to look at this, right? And we actually did a recent show about it that came out yesterday. Exodus or evolution, right? It can be looked at in either way. I think this is evolution for us. I think we've had an immediate response and reinforcement for some of the players that have gone and left. I think that we're going to be adapting the way that we play, and this has all essentially been in the grand scheme plan. You know, Iraola works in a certain way. We're aware of that. Yes, we've lost some big hitting players, but I don't think that's going to be the end for us. I think we're just going to adapt with the players that we've now brought in, especially physically in defence. I'm not as worried as other people may be.
I like that, exodus or evolution. I really like that. It's a nice way of sort of framing it. Were you surprised to see Antoine Semenyo stay at the club? There were so many rumours, weren't there, linking him with a move away. And he felt like one of the most likely to depart. And in the end, he sort of stayed put and signed a new contract.
Yeah. And I think that, again, comes down to character and mentality. I'll compare him with what's just happened with Dango. So Dango's obviously gone to Brentford. Seems like in the grand scheme of things for him as a player and him as his career, he's going to get more game time. Essentially more opportunities to score at goal than he may thought he would have at Bournemouth. But Semenyo's seen it a different way. We're in the middle at the moment of a 5-year plan, and all that's happened is you've literally seen us go from strength to strength. And I don't think that's going to slow down anytime soon. And I think Semenyo's decided correctly by having his season to shine now and continue to develop, because last season he was fantastic. I'm sure he's going to continue to build on that. So yeah, I think he's made a good decision, and he loves it in Bournemouth. He loves the fans, so it works well for him.
There's a contrast between how Bournemouth fans are feeling and how the wider football community is feeling about Bournemouth this season. There's a bit of trepidation when people are making their 1 to 20 predictions. They have Bournemouth a lot lower than they had them last season. But it seems like Bournemouth fans were braced for the exits in terms of Dean Howson and Kirkes and Zabani. You kind of knew that they were going, so you've almost braced yourself for that and looking ahead rather than looking back.
Absolutely, yeah. And come on, chaps, is there not a reason that we all love football and that we're all so heavily invested in it? And it's for these kind of stories. It's for these AFC Bournemouth stories where you see us go from coming up with Nottingham Forest and looking like we were going to continue to kind of go back and forth, up and down, as we have previously, and as other teams do consistently. And it hasn't been that way. And I think everyone at Bournemouth, every fan, everyone in the staffing, all the recruitment that's happening at the moment, we're all so bought into the fact that this is a journey that we're on, and we're all enjoying the journey. So yes, there is absolute concern, should I say, not doubt, concern for games like tonight, but we're so bought in and ready for the ups and downs and the trepidation to come for the season ahead, because we've got confidence in what's happening behind closed doors. I'm hoping I can speak for all AFC Bournemouth fans there.
There are lots of reports, aren't there, about Liverpool's Ben Doak. He's apparently on his way down to the South Coast for about £25 million. Where does he fit into the picture for you?
At the moment, he doesn't. I think that is not a panic signing, but a reinforcement for squad depth. I think he'd be a fantastic sub, given some of the circumstances that we've been in last season. I think at the moment, we look like we're heading into a strong 11, but we all know what can happen in football. Again, last season, we saw how injuries affected us, how we had to rely on our sub bench and on our academy players sometimes to really come out and create good games for us and good chances for us to move forward. But yeah, we have to have some depth in some positions. And there's a couple of other bits of speculation, right, for players coming in, especially now Dango's gone and created that kind of roundabout for transfers for the different clubs that are now going to be moving upon that signing.
In terms of Bournemouth, I look at them as a team that there's players that maybe have to take the step up. We expect a development in Semenyo as a Bournemouth player and as an attacking force, and he scored some great goals against some of the top teams in the division last year. But Evan Nilsson's a man I'm looking at. He scored 10 goals in his first Premier League season. He's a man that prior to joining Bournemouth has scored goals in the Champions League. Only 25 years old, double figures like I said in his first year. Do you expect him to have a fully fit season to maybe score the goals to lead Bournemouth to where you need to get to this season?
Yes. Yeah, yes and no. I do indeed. I think he's definitely got a bigger piece to play in the team. Obviously, being our statement signing last season, 40 million, the biggest signing that we've ever had, you would have expected a bigger impact. However, again, we're in this journey of transition. There's been some huge, significant strategic changes with how the team is now coming out. And I only think that that's going to benefit him getting more chances in front of the goals, getting more goals in the back of the net. And again, I think he's going to grow with this team, just as you'll see Semenyo, just as you'll see James Hill. I think he's going to be one to watch this season. Truffert has come in and almost physically and defensively replaced what we had in Kirkes. With Diakite coming in, I think that there's concern because of how much is going on. But if you really look at it closely, we've still got a strong squad. We've still got the spine of our team that's taken us through the last two seasons, and all we've done is adapt around it and make it better.
In terms of tonight then, you said at the top, Ollie, that you were quite confident and feeling good about tonight's game. What can we expect to see from Bournemouth in terms of some of that evolution? We all became very familiar with Andoni Iraola's team last season. We understand what they were about then. Have there been any evolutions over the course of pre-season that you think we might be able to spot tonight?
Well, look, it's tough to quantify success in a game like tonight, right? To me, success would be seeing certain players come into their own, work together, gel together. If we can squeeze a 2-2 draw and really challenge the Liverpool squad that has also had significant strategic changes and also may not gel as much as the Liverpool squad that has just won the season previously. So I think there's strengths and weaknesses to come out of what is going to be an explosive game tonight. In pre-season, there's definitely some players to look out for. As I've already mentioned, James Hill has been fantastic. Adrian Traffer, new signing, absolutely fantastic. I think if Diakite starts tonight, you're going from France to Anfield immediately within the space of a week. I think that's going to be tough, but we're aware of these challenges that we're up against, and we're back into the Premier League, boys. So that's the other part that just makes it so much more exciting, right?
We all can't wait for it, literally on the eve of, I think, a very competitive Premier League season. You sound pretty hopeful, and I want to get you on record in terms of where you think Bournemouth will finish this season. It's not the easiest start, of course. You play against Liverpool tonight, but next week you play against Wolves, and I think it's a decent run of fixtures, Spurs and Brighton. I think the Bournemouth could get off to a decent start, but I want to know where you think Bournemouth, by the time May 2026 rolls round, where will Bournemouth be in the Premier League?
Good. Yeah, I'm glad that you've asked. Watch this space. If you go over to the channel, we've done a top tier list show, so we've actually suggested and guessed where we think everyone will finish this season. I'm going to go for battling on a stronger last season for an 8th finish.
Nice.
I'd be over the moon with that. I'd be over the moon with 8th, 9th, or 10th, to be honest. Yeah, look, for anything else on that, we've actually got some more shows coming out. I'm hosting a reaction show on Monday nights, which is called Cherry Slaps. So by all means, come and hear the reactions to what I think happens in the football tonight on Monday night.
Brilliant stuff. Ollie, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Good luck for tonight. And make sure that you go over and check up the Cherries in All Departments podcast, where you can find Ollie and his colleagues doing some brilliant work over there.